The government is coming after you. Beware. The government is coming after you, especially if you're an AI bot, especially if you're a generative AI bot or predictive or any kind of AI bot. The government's coming after you, and you better beware because it's being led by none other than President Joe Biden. Biden released an executive order, or the Biden administration released an executive order last week around artificial intelligence, focusing on safety, trustworthiness, and the development and use of artificial intelligence and a broad-reaching scope, not just generative AI, but predictive AI and any kind of machine learning and artificial intelligence that currently exists is going to be impacted by this executive order. Because I think a lot of people, when they think about AI, they think primarily about generative AI, but there are other ways AI works, like, for instance, predictive, which is a little bit different than what generative AI does. I think one of the most interesting things about the executive order that was released was the definitions, and we'll look at some of the definitions in that executive order because it sheds a lot of light on what the administration and the governments, how they're thinking about artificial intelligence, and it also reveals a lot of information about what they're concerned about. What are they worried about? What are their fears? You can identify their fears in this Biden executive order. So we're going to take a little bit of a dive into that. But before we do that, I want to address one thing that I know is going to come up, or it's already happening. You know, there are different reactions to this executive order. There's always a spectrum, right? There's always a spectrum. On one side of the spectrum are those people who are deeply afraid of the impact of generative AI on their industries. I'm going to assume the creative class, writers, artists, so forth, because it is going to have a huge impact on that industry. So, and it is already having one. I know people who've been laid off as copywriters due to ChatGPT. So it is happening. The fear is justified in those industries. So for those folks, this is probably late in coming. It's been a year already. November 2022 was when ChatGPT 3.0 dropped and shook the foundations of our very existence, causing all kinds of existential crises across many different sectors. What are we doing? Why are we building these artificial intelligence bots? Are they going to take over the world? Are they going to destroy us? What's going on? So there's that side of the spectrum. Then there's the other side of the spectrum, probably mostly the tech executives are going, hold on. We don't want that much regulation. Government interference is just going to stifle innovation. And I agree with that too. I'm actually see both sides. I do see the side that's kind of very worried and existentially nervous about ChatGPT and all the other AI manifestations that we have seen over the past year. And I also understand the concern that once government gets involved, innovation is going to go down because they're going to restrict what you can do. And I get that. But as you look at the Biden executive order, I think you can see that there's some justifications for our concern. If we're to believe what they're saying in the executive order, I think if you read between the lines, they have some deep concerns, as do we all, and we should be careful. We should be careful with this technology. And when you think about the tech sector, you know, I get it. The tech sector are full of really trustworthy individuals that are not motivated by money and opportunity and or greed or anything like that. They are all truly altruistic individuals throughout Silicon Valley and Dubai and all the other tech sectors out there. They just want to do good for humanity. I mean, look what they did for social media, right? Social media, they did a wonderful job with that. You know, the internet, when it was first invented, promised to bring the world together. And when I say first invented, I mean second stage internet, where it became more public and the World Wide Web launched in the 1990s, connecting people, and we all started getting email and we started getting spammed by our crazy uncles with all kinds of political stuff in our inboxes. Remember that? Yeah, so it was a great thing. It promised to unite us on chat boards on AOL, and we were all going to talk to each other, and barriers were going to be broken down between different cultures and political beliefs and ideologies, and we were all going to come together. It was going to be a digital kumbaya moment as the world finally achieved world peace. Well, that didn't exactly happen, did it? And I know Facebook was invented to bring us all together, as was Twitter, now X. Was designed to bring harmony to the world, not atomization, it wasn't invented to stir conflicts up and sow divides and spread misinformation like it was manure. Zuckerberg was not into doing that, and neither were any of the other tech giants involved in creating social media. So we should just trust them. Now that they're moving into the metaverse and creating AI bots, we should just let them regulate themselves. We should totally trust them. Do you get the sarcasm there? Little sarcasm for your diet tonight. Little sarcasm, sprinkling some sarcasm into your mental diet this evening. We need to at least investigate what the impacts of AI are going to be on our society and take proactive steps to make sure that it doesn't bring us to the brink of Armageddon. So the first thing I'll say about Biden's executive order is that it's tied to what's called a Bill of Rights, or an AI Bill of Rights. There are 5 points on this Bill of Rights that I think are really important to look at. One are building safe and effective systems. Of course, we want the systems to be safe. We want these AI models and these large language models to be safe for public use. And we don't want anyone going in there and abusing these systems and causing harm, creating damage to society by using these models to terrorize us, I guess. And one thing that is very clear from the executive order is that there is concern about that, and they want to do testing to make sure that there are no security risks in these language models and then these AI algorithms, so they can't be compromised by bad actors. Another piece of the Bill of Rights is that they want to protect people from algorithmic discrimination. We know these AI bots can be full of biases because they're really reflections of us, and they've been trained on humans, on human information and work that we have created. So they're going to contain our biases, and we have a lot of them. So we want to make sure, and this Bill of Rights outlines that the government wants to make sure that discrimination isn't perpetuated and bias isn't perpetuated by this expanding AI ecosystem. Data privacy is also called out in this Bill of Rights. And is any of our data private anymore? It doesn't feel like it. I go on Facebook every day. I go on all these other applications. It seems like the whole internet and the whole tech industry is just one big data farming operation. They're just farming us for our data to get our data out of us. And the AI bots are going to promise to be another way they can get more data to sell us things and to learn how we behave. And there's even predicting crime rates in certain communities. So that's another way that data can be used to help us or to harm us. Notice and explanation is another pillar of the Bill of Rights, and that just means transparency, making sure that people know when they're using synthetic goods, and synthetic meaning content that was created by AI bots, books, literature, artwork, audio, video, whatever it might be. Anything that wasn't human produced, that was produced primarily by an AI bot, there's discussion in this to investigate that and see how we can watermark it and make sure that people are aware when they are using synthetic goods. And the final part of the Bill of Rights is human alternatives, consideration, and fallback. And that basically means that they don't want companies and organizations to just set up AI bots for us to interact with. We know how frustrating that can be when you call your bank and you send up on that phone chain and going from one automated response to another. It's super frustrating. So I imagine that is also informing this Bill of Rights. We want to make sure that people have access to human beings when they have problems, and we're not just pawning it off to an AI bot to help people negotiate whatever problems come up when they have to pay a bill or renegotiate their mortgage or deal with a police issue, whatever it might be. We want human beings involved, and we want the option to have human beings, because dealing with computers all the time can be frustrating. Thank you, tech sector. Listening to myself talk, I wonder if I have a lot of bias against the tech sector, and I wonder why.